Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In this video we'll be looking at how to configure VPN using Ethernet over IP or EoIP. This establishes an Ethernet tunnel between two routers or networks on top of the IP connection. So this could be used, for example, to bridge two LANs over the internet. For this tutorial, I have two Comset CM685VX routers, which I will establish an EoIP tunnel between over the internet. I'll also be using two different PCs to help me test the connection. Before we get started configuring our routers, you'll need to make sure that your SIM allows for a public WAN IP address and that this IP address is static rather than dynamic. This type of VPN doesn't allow for dynamic DNS to be configured, so it works much better with a static public IP. Okay, now let's get started on the configuration. Go ahead and connect to your first router's web interface. And if you check the IP address under Mobile 1, we can see that this is a private IP address. So to change this, go to Network, and then Mobile, and then change the APN to your carrier's APN that will give you a public IP address. For Telstra, this is telstra.extranet. Then click Save and Apply. We can check that this worked by going back to the Status Overview page, and then scrolling down to check the IP address. We can see now that this is a public address. We need to use this IP address to configure Ethernet over IP, so make note of it somewhere. Now with Telstra, this IP address is dynamic, which means it will change after a certain period of time or when the router reboots. So we would have to keep updating the configuration for the VPN to work. However, there are some carriers that offer static public IPs, such as Optus, which is why this method of VPN is best suited to those carriers. Now connect to your second router and do the same. So here is my second router where I've already changed the APN, same as the first, as we can see by the public IP address here. So on this router, we also need to change the LAN IP address. This is because we can't have two routers on the same local network with the same local IP address. So to do this, go to Network and then LAN, and then we'll type in our new LAN IP address here. I'm going to make mine 192.168.1.100, but you can use whatever works within your network. Once you've done that, scroll down and click Save and Apply. Now to access the web interface, we need to type in our new LAN IP address in our browser. Log back in, and now we can set up the EoIP tunnel on this router. So go to Services, and then scroll down to find VPN, and then the last tab labelled EoIP. Here we could create a new VPN instance, but for this video I'm just going to edit this one here. So check Enable, and then under Local Interface choose IF Mobile, then enter the public IP address of your other router, the first router. We can change the tunnel ID, just make sure that the ID is the same on both routers. Then enter a value for the MTU. A standard value is 1500. And then once you've done that, click Save and Apply. Next, go ahead and connect to your first router again. And again, go to Services, scroll down to VPN, and then EoIP. And then edit this instance. Check Enable, choose IF Mobile, and then enter the remote IP address of your second router. Make sure the tunnel IDs are the same, and then enter a value for the MTU, and click Save and Apply. Now we're ready to test our Ethernet over IP tunnel. We will need to connect another PC to our second router, either via Wi-Fi or physically, and then note down its local IP address. And on this PC, connected to the first router, open up a command window and enter the command ping, followed by the second PC's IP address, and then press Enter. If the EoIP tunnel is working correctly, you should get 4 successful replies from the second PC. To test this further, you could also send a ping from the second PC to this first one, and once again, if you get 4 successful replies, then you know that the tunnel is established and working in both directions. That is all for this video, where we've covered how to configure VPN EoIP on the Comset CM685VX routers. Thank you all for watching, see you in the next video.